The most extreme weather, probably in the summers. The heat was unbearable. I mean, Utah, like, it gets hot in 90s and stuff like that, but in California, it's just like a constant heat. I mean, from June until basically like the end of September, and it's just 90s, a little bit humidity between 90 and like 115, just all the time. So that was a little rough. I'm singing to people all the time, on the streets, on their doorstep, in wards, in their homes, just singing to people everywhere. Definitely Balut. That was crazy. A lot of avocado. I mean, people in California, that's like a big thing. So that was kind of weird, but it's good. Grew to love it a lot. And just had a variety of like everything. I mean, from hamburgers to salmon to tri-tip, which is phenomenal. I mean, everything. But Balut was probably the worst thing I had and craziest. Was talking to people and having a really spiritual experience with them, and then invited them to learn more. And they say, man, no, I'm good. And I was just crashing, man. Just like the spirit was there. Just like, this guy's totally going to accept it. And then you ask him, just like, nah, I'm good. It's just like, man, come on. And so that was really hard. Just consecutive days of that. Saugus, definitely. I was there for 6 months and then knocked doors for 6 months and didn't find a new investigator. And so that was probably the hardest experience. But I learned the most to be able to rely upon the Lord and to know that Heavenly Father truly is watchful. And everything that we do will definitely help and prepare us into times to come. In the moment, we don't understand why, and we don't understand the reasoning, but as you look back, and it's because of that experience, and you can know that I can do hard things. Learning to work with people, I think that was the biggest thing. Knowing that, it's not all about you. In this world, we work together. We're a family, we're brothers and sisters, and just learning how to communicate, learning how to live with somebody, learning how to communicate with somebody, and working together in unity on a same purpose and same objective, and not overbearing one another and just shutting one person out, but doing it together. I think that's one of the greatest things I learned on my mission. Never got shot at. I heard a lot of gunshots. Yeah, I mean, just the rougher areas. As a missionary, you just don't really think about it. But I mean, we're in rough areas like all the time. Silmar, I went on exchanges once with the elders and then went back 2 weeks later. And there's a memorial right outside their apartment. Some guy got shot. I mean, definitely like stay in lighted areas, very like the routes you go. I think just as like you're talking to people, just really getting to know like your area. I mean, running into my gang members, like I loved it because they know the area well, and usually gang members, like, they just watch out for the missionaries. They know that you're God's boys, and so they step out and they watch out for you. So we never really had a problem with that. And I mean, they would tell us usually like this area is a bad area, and so I wouldn't go here after dark. And so just getting to know the area from the locals and what areas are safe at night, what are dangerous, and just being aware like of your surroundings. I mean, obviously as missionaries, you talk to everybody, and so just being cautious with it. You definitely learn when people are under the influence of alcohol or other substances. And so I think just keeping that aware too, and just watching people, the way that they react and are moving and talking, and just keeping your distance and just being observant, I say, is one of the big things when you're out on the streets. And if you're observant and just talk to people, kind of learn the ins and outs and learn your street smarts. A lot of memories flood my mind. One I remember was in Sherman Oaks, and we were just walking, just kind of a normal day, not much success, but trying our best and talking to everybody. And as we were sitting there, thinking about where we needed to go, getting ready to go to the next point we had planned, there was an Asian woman that came out. I think that she was Korean, one of those. And there was no language communication going on there. Couldn't understand each other. But we went up, started talking to her, and she's like, "Oh, like, I don't speak." It's just like, "Okay, is that okay if we sing you a song?" And she said, No. She's like, "No, it's okay. Like, we want to sing you to you." She's like, No, I'm good. She's like, "All right, we want to sing to you." And so me and my companion, I remember we sang, "I'm a child of God." And I remember that the Spirit came so powerfully, and she began to cry. And at the end of the song, she said, "Thank you. I needed that." And to know, even though that there was that language barrier, to know that the Spirit does know all things. And it was amazing to be able to see that's exactly what she needed at that time. And we had that opportunity to be there with her and to be able to experience Heavenly Father touching her heart. Another experience in that area was just off of Fairlawn and Sherman Way. And then there was a bench there. And it was right after that Easter Sunday, and the Because of Him video came out. And we were walking. I believe we just got out of church, and there's just a young teenage girl just sitting on the bench on her phone. And so we went up and we started talking to her. And we asked if we could show her that video. She's like, oh, here right now? Just like, yeah, let's do it. And so just on the side of the street, showed her the video. And she's like, I really love that. Do you guys have a church? Like, I've been looking for a church. Is there a church around here that I can join? And we're able to talk to her about it, and I actually invited her to be baptized. And she accepted right there on the spot in the middle of the street. And that was an amazing experience to know that there are people just waiting to hear the gospel. And I think just overall, just being a missionary, I think just being on the front lines of the atonement and really being in and living with the people day to day, seeing their struggles, seeing the hard things in life, and being in those rough areas and learning about them, and being able to see the hand of the Lord. And to know everybody has problems, but because of the gospel and the atonement, they can be fixed. And we have opportunities to be a part of God's great work. Nothing's going to stop it. But if we're willing, the Lord will make us an instrument and allow us to take part in those spiritual experiences. I mean, you're only going to need one suit. We only wore suits just for meetings and transfer meeting. You don't really need a long sleeve shirt. I think I had like two. You just wear a short sleeve shirt because it's super hot. So I'd have like two long sleeves just for meetings and things like that. In the winter, I mean, it's really not that cold. I mean, it gets a little bit nippy. So I mean, like a good windbreaker jacket, try to keep you warm. I mean, if you're on a bike out and about, wear gloves and good durable shoes and socks. But other than that, the weather is beautiful, basically year round. I mean, 70s up, and wear sunscreen, definitely. But yeah, I mean, the weather's awesome. It really, I mean, I could count on my fingers how many times it rained. So, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Remember, I think you get back and you wake up and it feels like a dream. It feels like that those 2 years didn't happen, but yet you have the experience and the knowledge of those 2 years. And I would say always remember those 2 years and live your life after the model that you built in those 2 years. Always keep up the habits that you have. Just the everyday simple things. Reading the scriptures, studying the scriptures, feasting upon them, going to church, and praying. And as you do those things and those every little day things, and that's what's going to help us out the most.